Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here to give you my favorite MLB home run predictions for today. We are talking Friday, July 11th. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy 7-Eleven day, everybody. Very fun Friday today. I'm going to have 6 home run predictions for you guys to lock in for today's MLB betting slate. Going to give you my 4 favorite at the beginning. So for those of you that want to play things a little bit lighter, I'll give you my favorite 4. And then I also, if you're doing what I'm doing, going to give you all 6 so you can spray the board like what I'm doing. Before we get into all of that, let's do a recap from yesterday, which was another day in which we didn't completely lose everything, but we were not in the green. That continued yesterday. Junior Caminero was the only one that came through with a home run. Thank God for that. We ended the day down about a quarter unit, 0.26 units to be exact, was our loss yesterday. Not terrible. You know, if one of these other guys had come through, then we would have been in the green. I really liked Corey Seager, but that was not the case for him to hit a home run. On the entire year, we're still in the green, but slightly. You know, we worked our way back into about a unit of profit. And then these last 3 days, we've been down about a quarter unit. We're 3/4, which is not terrible. Obviously, we're hoping to be in the green. ROI is exactly the same, 0.21%. And then I'm not going to explain this every video because people that tune in are probably sick of hearing it, but if you're putting 1 unit on every single home run, you're up 33.26 units. Now, the more guys I play, the less I recommend putting 1 unit on every single one because, you know, for yesterday, you would have risked 7 units. That's a lot to risk on home runs, which is why I play things a little bit lighter. But I really, really like the board for today. We got a ton of good weather games across the board. I don't have a play in every single one of these good weather games, but I tried to target as many as I could, and mostly agreement with Weather Edge and Ballpark Pow, which is nice. Most of the time, when one thought it was a good game, the other one did as well. So we're talking like the Royal Stadium, which is normally a hitter-friendly park, hot, wind blowing out, good for home runs. The White Sox Stadium, there's a double header here, so keep that in mind, but really good weather there. Red Stadium, always good. Athletics Stadium, always good. Oriole Park is decent today. Yankee Stadium's been awesome recently. And then Angel Stadium is good as well, with a couple still in the positive 4 home runs, just not quite in the green, which means that it's between 0 and 10%. But all in all, should be a really, really good day for home runs. And let's get right into it. The first 2 plays that I'm locking in are both in the Blue Jays game, and I'm taking Addison Barger to hit a home run, and I'm taking George Springer to hit a home run. So I'm taking both of them to hit home runs. The odds on this are pretty decent, depending on how you define decent. Barger is best offered at plus 350 at FanDuel, and then George Springer is best offered at plus 375 at Bet365. So those are the 2 plays that I'm on in the odds. The biggest thing here is Luis Severino is pitching for the Athletics, and he's just been terrible recently. I mean, he's complained that he hates pitching at that ballpark, which I don't blame him because it's where pitchers go to die, at that Athletics home stadium. But this is just overall because I'm taking a righty and a lefty against him. He's allowed 8 home runs in the last 5 weeks, which is disgusting. Home run every 16.5 at-bats, which is disgusting. And you see a lot of red across the board for Luis Severino. Barrel rate is slightly below average, but still a bad 8%. Hard hit rate is a little bit worse at 46% in terms of average and how that compares. The line drive plus fly ball rate is a little bit lower because he's not a huge fastball thrower, but still above 50% combined is fine. And these 2 guys in the Blue Jays are hitting well. You look at them over the last 2 weeks, 6 barrels for each of them is really good. 24 hard hits for Barger, 21 for Springer is really good. You look at the last 7 days, they both lead the team in hard hits. 11 for Barger, 10 for Springer, and they both have at least 2 barrels as well. So they both have been hitting very well recently. They both have a phenomenal matchup against Luis Severino. Technically, Severino is worse against righties. You see that home run is every 12.6 at-bats against righties. Some numbers are worse, like the barrel rate actually is better, but the fly ball rate is higher. The hard hit rate is slightly higher. And then against lefties, it's every 23 at-bats, which is still really, really bad. The barrel rate goes up. The line drive rate goes up to a very bad number. Hard hit rate is slightly down, and the fly ball rate is slightly down as well. So this is all to say I don't really care whether it's a righty versus lefty. They can both get it. against Luis Severino, and I'm taking two of the hottest batters on the Blue Jays, two relatively hot batters in terms of just the grand scheme of the MLB, and phenomenal weather, which is always the case at Suter Health Park. I mean, the temperature is like high, is in the hundreds to 90s to the 80s, low barometric pressure, pretty decently heavy winds blowing out in a stadium that's very receptive to wind. I mean, it's phenomenal hitting weather in this game. So you kind of wanted to double up on guys in a really good pitching matchup, which is what they have. So those are my first two plays. Addison Barger plus 350, George Springer plus 375. Next up, and my third of my four favorites, is Alec Burlson. We're taking him to hit a home run. He is best offered at plus 475 odds at ESPN Bet. And if you can't use that, you can still get plus 470 at FanDuel, which is perfectly good to go there. So no issues there. Burlson, you know, he was one of the hottest hitters in baseball if you were looking at like hard hitting barrels and stuff. He's cooled down a little bit, but has still been good. So even though he's cooled off a little bit, it's not like he's ice cold at the plate. Someone like Brendan Donovan, who's really cooled off. Burlson still has 8 hard hits in the last week, 2 barrels. Those are acceptable numbers. You look at the last 2 weeks, which does include more of its hot streak. 14 hard hits is acceptable, but 6 barrels. That is a very healthy number. And I like the fact that you look at him yesterday. He had 3 hard hits yesterday. Nobody else on the Cardinals. Mason Wynn had 2, but Brendan Donovan only had 1, and he had 3. So it's at least like he's hitting the ball pretty hard recently. The exit velocity on those, 2 of them above 100 miles an hour, and then one of them was a 99.9, but it was a ground out. So not incredible, but still 3 hard hits, one of them being 106 with a decent launch angle. Like this is never going to be a home run, but it's not smacked directly into the ground, which I'm okay with. The biggest thing for Alec Burlson is this pitcher matchup against Grant Holmes. So Grant Holmes pitching for the Braves, he's really good against righties. He really struggles against lefties. So if you look at him against left-handed hitters, you see it. Look at these numbers against righties. Home run every 71 at-bats, 4% barrel rate, 41% hard hit rate, sub 50% line drive plus fly ball rate. Now let's go against lefties. That fly ball rate goes up to 47%. The barrel rate goes above 8%. Hard hit rate of about 45, just below that percent. Line drive rate is low. That fly ball rate is super high. Home run every 16.3 at-bats. That's really bad. And for him, you know, he throws basically 4 pitches almost equally. You know, 28% for the fastball, 21% for the cutter, and then basically 25% each for the slider and the curveball. The 2 pitches that gets hit the hardest are unsurprisingly the 2 pitches that he throws the most frequently and the pitches that are thrown the hardest. And you look at Alec Burlson over the last month against the 4-seam fastball and the slider. It's really good numbers. It's 15% barrel rate, 63% hard hit rate, and 43% fly ball rate. That's the biggest thing, is that fly ball rate, consistently putting the ball in the air. Now, Brendan Donovan has good numbers against this pitch mix as well. As you can see, 28% barrel rate is incredible. The fly ball rate is just lower, and he's not quite as hot at the plate. So I decided to hold off on Brendan Donovan and just go with Alec Burlson against Grant Holmes. If you really wanted to spray the board, then I wouldn't blame you for adding Brendan Donovan, but I'm trying to kind of play the middle of not completely taking like 12 guys, which I did before, which is probably too many. Also, not just totally limiting myself to 3. But regardless, I really like Alec Burlson to hit a home run. Again, plus 475 at ESPN Bet. And then my fourth of my 4 favorites is Colt Keith. We're taking him to hit a home run. Really nice price on him at, it's not showing up on Bet365, but it's plus 625 or plus 650. Let's see if I can pull that up. 650. Okay, so it's plus 650 at Bet365 for Colt Keith. He's been hitting incredibly recently, kind of going under the radar because the Tigers have so many guys that mash. But look at Colt Keith. Over the last, so this is the last 14 days. He's got, leads the team with 20 hard hits and 3 barrels. Not as many barrels as you would like, but 20 hard hits is really good. Now, the torque barrels over the last 14 days is very impressive, but I don't like the situation as much for him. Then you look at the last week, 11 hard hits for Colt Keith, and 2 of those 3 barrels have been hit in the last week. And you look at his game logs recently, like you just look at his last couple games, 3 hard hits, 1 barrel, 1 home run. 1 hard hit, 1 barrel, 1 home run. And then last game, 4 hard hits. Now, none of them were barreled up, but 4 hard hits in the last game that he played, which was 2 games ago back on the 9th because the Tigers didn't have a play yesterday. That's really, really good. And he's going up against Luis Castillo, who was another pitcher that has just been getting absolutely annihilated recently. You look at Luis Castillo, these are just his last 5 weeks in general. 8 home runs allowed, home run every 16 at-bats. Really horrific numbers across the board. He's also equally bad against righties and lefties. Home run every 17 at-bats against righties. The barrel rate went up. The hard hit rate went up. And then you look at against lefties, it's every 15 at-bats. Slightly down compared to of the two for barrel rate and hard hit rate, but still nothing to be scared off of. And the line drive plus flat ball rate is really high. I like Colt Keith a lot because he crushes four-seam fastballs. He's got some of the best numbers on the team against four-seamers. This is over the last month from righties. 10% barrel rate, 66% hard hit rate, 29% fly ball rate. That fly ball rate is a little bit low, but that's still pretty good. And then the reason why I held off on torque is because torque hits the fastball really well from Luis Castillo. He doesn't hit these other 2 pitches that well, and those happen to be the 2 home run pitches for Castillo. That's why I held off on torque, and I just went with Colt Keith. It's really just him annihilating four-seam fastballs from righties, which is what he's going to see a lot from Luis Castillo, and that pitch gets nuked. So Colt Keith to hit a home run, and it's a really good price at plus 650. Obviously, that stuff is important as well, but I just really like the matchup. So those are my 4 favorites. If you just want to take 4, lock it in with Colt Keith, put a half unit on all 4 of them, and you're good to go. I am spraying the board. I recommend people spray the board with me, but I can't force you to do anything. So my second of the last 2, Seiya Suzuki. I'm taking him to hit a home run. He is best offered at plus 450 odds at FanDuel. Pretty nice price, or excuse me, DraftKings. DraftKings. Pretty nice price here on DraftKings at 450, and I would still take 425 at Bet365 and ESPN Bet. Ballpark Pal really likes this one. They have his true odds at 378, so that's always a good sign. So Carlos Rodon is pitching for the Yankees, who's not a terrible pitcher overall, but he really hasn't been good against righties recently. You look at these numbers. I mean, these are really, really bad. 32% fly ball rate, 25% line drive rate. That's decently high. 50% hard hit rate with a low K rate. 12% barrel rate. Again, all with a low K rate. He's allowed a home run every 15 at-bats to right-handed hitters. It basically all comes against his four-seam fastball. And Suzuki has been hitting relatively well recently. You know, he's cooled off a little bit, kind of similar to Alec Burlson, where he's not quite as hot now as he was, but 7 hard hits in the last week with 3 barrels are acceptable numbers. They're not amazing, they're acceptable. You look at the last 14 days, it's a little bit better for him, 17 hard hits and 7 barrels. He did have a decent day at the plate yesterday, which is not showing up on that report. They just haven't run it yet. But you look at Seiya Suzuki yesterday, he had 2 hard hits, and they were hit decently hard. One of them, 104.5 miles per hour off the bat, and then a 384-foot flyout, 101 miles per hour off the bat. So nobody that is somebody that you should avoid is basically what I'm trying to say here. And the weather in Yankee Stadium is good, which I already mentioned, but I'll show you again. Now, generally, Yankee Stadium is better for left-handed hitters because they got that short right field porch. Righties can still go yard. Aaron Judge plays at Yankee Stadium. It's still fine for a right-handed hitter, and really good matchup for Seiya Suzuki, who hits lefties really well. Granted, he hits both righties and lefties well, but slightly better against lefties. And then my 6th and final play is a guy that I'm not going to be one day lated by, Corey Seager, to hit a home run. We are taking him at plus 425 odds at Bet365. A slightly, and ESPN Bet as well, a slightly positive EV play according to Ballpark Pal, who has his true odds at plus 395. Now, we went with Seager at plus 270. Now we're getting him at plus 425, so we are getting a pretty good price. And Seager's on fire. I mean, you look at just number of hard hits over the last 14 days. Guess who leads the MLB? That would be Corey Seager. Look at total barrels over the last week. Guess who is tied for second with another batter in Judge, but's got 11? That would be Corey Seager. I mean, he's just hitting the ball incredibly well. You look at the last week for Corey Seager. Leads the MLB with 16 hard hits, tied with Rami Gonzalez, and he's got a respectable 4 barrels. So nothing about these numbers should scare anybody off. Obviously, I mean, he's among the hottest hitters in baseball. No, he did not hit a home run yesterday, but he was not completely ice cold at the plate. I meant to click this game. He didn't, like, nothing was that close to being a home run. If you look at his EV logs, 105 miles per hour off the bat and 98.9. So that's acceptable. Now, the pitching matchup, Lance McCullers, he missed a ton of time due to injury, came back, generally pitched pretty well, and he's kind of started to unravel, which you feel bad for him because he missed so much time. These are his last 5 starts, home run every 11 at-bats. That is really bad. Now, he's been worse against righties, home run every 8 at-bats versus every 16 to lefties. Still nobody that you should be scared off of taking a left-handed hitter against. And going from 270 to 425 on Corey Seager when it really shouldn't be that way, I think is a pretty good process. So Corey Seager to hit a home run as my 6th and final pick of the video. And that's all we got. So 6 guys to hit home runs: Suzuki, Corey Seager, Addison Barger, George Springer, Colt Keith, and Alec Burlson. As a reminder, if you just want to take 4, my 4 favorites are the bottom 4 guys, the 2 Blue Jays in Barger and Springer, and then Colt Keith and Alec Burlson. I took all 6 of them. I put a quarter unit on all 6 of them, so I did up my unit size a little bit. But that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to bet responsibly, and have a good one.